is up, T.O.Gs? Now, just a little while back, we did a review on a product on actually these gloves right here, the Alpine Seller V1 gloves. And if you haven't caught that review yet, I'll put a link right here in the video so you can hop on over to that if you're interested. But today we're going to talk about the Dainese Street Biker Air. Riding shoes, riding sneakers, I don't know what you want to call them, but they're not really boots. They're made out of suede. And so far they've been pretty durable. They've been surprisingly comfortable. And instead of going over like the features and things that you can go over all by yourself and look for yourself and that are self-explanatory, you know, for example, that they're made out of suede, I'm just going to go over some of the things that stick out about these shoes to me and my impressions of having these shoes for about, I think about 5 or 6 months now. And just wearing them around, actually having to wear them to work and then having to walk around in them all day. And just kind of just a rundown of these shoes for you. Just so if maybe you're on the fence or you just wanted to know a little bit more about them, you can get that information here. So here we go, jump right into it. So the Street Biker Air by Dainese, you can't see them really right here, but when I shift on these, it's actually leaving a little bit of a mark. And I don't know, I mean, it's not like I've got like my shifter peg is in bad shape or it's abrasive or anything, but because they're made out of suede, it's leaving a little bit of a mark on top of the shoe. Can't really, well, maybe you can see it in the video there. But that's kind of one of the bigger gripes about these shoes is because they're made out of a suede material, you know, once you get a little abrasion on it or there's a spot that you wear on it constantly, like the shifter peg, it's gonna leave a mark. And that's fine. I mean, that's just something that you're used to. I know that certain shoes that you buy will come with like a band that you can wrap around the forefoot all the way to the top of the shoe, so that, you know, if you want to keep your shoes looking nice, you'll have that band there while you ride, and then you can take it off when you're not riding. But these shoes did not come with one of those. There might be a different version of the Street Biker. I know that there's a waterproof version of this shoe as well, and those might come with that band, but these ones did not. Like any other product review, I will leave a link in the description to more information on these shoes, as well as a link so that if you wanted to purchase these shoes, you can. So let's talk about my feet, because if your feet are like my feet, then you can get an impression about how they might fit you, how they might feel on you. I have flat feet. I wear a size 10.5 to 11 typically, and I bought these shoes in a size 11. I'll put here in the video what size that is in European size, because I know that that might be something that you are curious about. I wear typically width is usually medium for me, but because I'm flat-footed, I know if you have an arch, your feet can be a little bit higher this way, you know, from top to bottom. So I have a lot of space, but what I have heard about these shoes on some product reviews is that they run really narrow, and it's hard and it's uncomfortable for certain people with certain kind of feet to wear. And what I will say is that at first they did feel a little bit snug in the forefoot, but after wearing them, I think after I wore them like 2 or 3 times, it stretched out a little bit, and they feel just fine. And I do like my shoes a little bit snug. I wear thicker socks when I wear these shoes, and still they feel comfortable when I wear thinner socks as well. So if you had any questions about, you know, whether they were still comfortable if you wear thin socks or thick socks, there's your impressions from myself. You can go either way as far as I'm concerned, and they still feel good. Now, comfortability, these were surprisingly comfortable, because all the riding shoes that I've tried on before, I've only had one other pair of riding shoes which were actually Icons as well, that were somewhat comfortable, but as usual, these shoes are going to be a little bit stiff. But these shoes have a little bit more flex on the outsole, and just because the material that they're mostly made of on the upper is suede, there's some good flex in these shoes, and they're actually pretty comfortable. I wore them to work one day, and I walked around in them all day, I would say probably by the end of the day, after walking around in them for so long, there were certain parts, like in the ankle, where I would have to maneuver the tongue around a little bit so that it was kind of just hitting me in a funny spot. But other than that, like, it wasn't that my feet hurt. There was just certain parts that were, you know, because these shoes are made for riding and not for walking, that I was just surprised at how comfortable that they were. So one of the other complaints that I read about on product reviews for the Street Biker Air was that they were starting to fall apart. And one of the parts that they were specifically talking about, or I'm speaking of reviewers, is that the heel was starting to come apart. Now, I've inspected the heel thoroughly, and I've taken these shoes off a lot, on and off. And what I will say is that because of the snug fit of these shoes, I think maybe what might have happened is that some people tend to, instead of, you know, properly unlacing their shoes, loosening them up, and then taking them off, you know, they're kicking their, you know, they're stepping on the heel, and they're forcing their shoes off, as opposed to taking them off properly. I think if you had any pair of shoes, if you took your shoes off like this, I'm talking about like stepping on the heel and being really rough with them, that you're gonna end up tearing those shoes apart. It doesn't matter if they're riding shoes, it doesn't matter if they're basketball, running shoes. If you don't properly take your shoes off, you're gonna end up just ripping them apart. So I think that probably has something to do with people talking about how they're falling apart, but the construction on these shoes to me is solid. Like I said, I've worn them a lot, I've taken them on and off a lot, and I don't see any signs of faulty or poor craftsmanship. It looks like these shoes are going to last for a long time. Now, you know, if I'm going to do a review maybe a little bit longer after like a year of wearing these shoes, I don't know, maybe I will. But as far as I can tell, after 6 months of taking these shoes on and off quite a bit, I haven't had no issues, and I have seen no defects in the construction of these shoes. Now, just all around, I love the way that these shoes look. They've got reflectivity in the heel, and I think that you could probably buy some reflective laces as well if you want a little bit more reflectivity in your feet when you ride. But really, I just, what attracted me to these shoes altogether was the way that they looked, the way that they felt, and then knowing that they were going to keep me safer. And I'm a big fan of Dainese products. Some of them are a little bit out of my price range, but these were not, and I was really excited to pick up a pair of these shoes. Like I said, I will leave a link in the description to where you can get these shoes if you want to get them, and I will also leave a link in case you wanted to look up some more specs on these shoes. But guys, that's all I've got on the Dainese Street Biker Air riding shoes. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. And if there's something about these shoes that you do or do not like, if you have them, go ahead and leave those in the comments as well, because when people watch these reviews, I know that they have some vested interest on buying or owning this shoe. So guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, make sure that you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you're out there riding, be safe. And if you're not riding, get riding. I'm that one guy, and I am out.